I was trying to freeze myself so it looked like it was a freeze frame, but like you weren't in it. I couldn't see what you were doing. I could see you doing motions. Welcome to another edition of Popcorn Bucket List. Sitting here are just two denim shirt wearing buffaloes. What did they say? There was like a thing. They said a thing in the Minecraft movie.
Yeah.
They called themselves like two denim buffaloes or something like that.
Yeah, two denim buffaloes.
So we're
wild.
So what are we? We're like two t-shirted warthogs? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But anyways, we're here. We're talking movies here like usual. Actually, we're going to do a little something different here, actually, today, believe it or not. I don't know if this will be a regular thing. We can maybe make this a new segment here. But just some house cleaning items, I guess, get out of the way. That's something people say.
Yep.
Just there was a couple things I wanted to talk about and kind of more specifically get your reaction.
Yeah.
We're going to call this Ryne's Reactions.
It's like Ryan's Reviews.
Or Ryne Actions or something.
Yeah.
Like that. We'll workshop the title later.
Perfect.
We'll workshop it later. But first things first, I want to talk a little bit about Nerd Bracket. We released both those parts here recently, and you had a small role to play in this one here. I just want to get your
I would say
your
a big
thoughts.
role.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Small role in runtime, big role in the effect on the whole
Correct.
thing.
I'm
Yeah.
like Bryan Cranston in Godzilla.
Mark it off your bingo cards, folks. You mentioned Godzilla.
Yeah.
But yeah, in case people haven't seen yet, basically Nerd Bracket, that's where we do an NCAA-style bracket challenge over a fandom or movie series. This year, we did the biggest one ever, Disney animated movies. It was a lot of fun to put together here and to do. Due to scheduling, we had an even number of players. I tried my best to avoid that, but, sometimes it's how it works. So we needed some tiebreakers. So we called you for one. And in fact, actually, so I'm going to, for the people watching here, I'm going to play a clip of it, of what you did in the episode here. And then I want to hear your thoughts.
All right.
On it, basically. So we'll play that clip now. Call Ryne. What's calling Ryne?
I cannot believe this is happening.
If Lion King doesn't make it past Sweet 16,
I'm leaving. There's no way.
What's up?
Hey Ryan, we're on the set.
Yo.
We have a question. I'm gonna tell you two movie names. You have to answer which is your favorite, okay?
Or which one's better?
Which one's
Yep.
better?
Which one's better?
Okay. All right.
We have Aladdin and The Lion King.
Aladdin, 100%.
What? No! This
you.
is rigged!
Thank you. Bye.
You're welcome. Bye.
Yeah, so like I said, small role, but it was a big...
Very important role.
Yes, and helpful. So I specifically haven't talked to you about this moment because I wanted to hear your thoughts here, because I know you said you could hear what was going on, but you weren't really sure what was going on.
Yeah. So when I got the phone call, I'm like, oh, are they done filming already? And then Reed's like, hey, Ryan, we're in the middle of a question we got to ask you. And I'm like, oh, sweet, can't wait. And I'd been talking earlier about this with someone, and these are actually two of the films that we were talking about. And we said, yeah, Aladdin, hands down. 100%. And it's when I was on the phone, I just hear a what and stuff stuff falling. It sounded like the building was collapsing. And then I got to see the video, and it was hilarious.
Yeah, we pretty quickly got you off the phone there. We kind of got our answer and just kind of moved on because I just assumed that was going to be all of it. But.
Then also I was like, oh, okay, I guess it's over.
Yeah. The two of our competitors were not happy with that decision. Mm-hmm. I did find it interesting how quickly you did answer, but that does make more sense now that you said you talked to someone earlier and everything like that.
Well, and
too.
actually, I might have lied. It might have been I talked to someone after you guys have called me.
But you already had that in your head.
Oh, yeah. It was easy. I would choose Aladdin 100% over Lion King all the time, every time.
Yeah. And, well, a couple of us did as well, but a couple other people said Lion King. We couldn't get him to move on from that, so I had to double down. We called another friend of the show here, Jada, and this one had me nervous. I wasn't sure where you were going to go with this, to be honest. But I was like, whatever he decides, whatever, we'll move on. Because we were originally going to have you on it anyway. So I figured if you say this, it would be like if you were actually on the show and everything too. But then I doubled down. We called Jada, and her, I wasn't sure. I was like, I feel like this is going to be the only way for us to move on here. But I wasn't sure. And then when she said Aladdin 2, I couldn't believe. I thought she was going to pick Lion King on that one.
But it was funny. And then, and I talked to her after because I had mentioned that you guys called me. And she was like, they called me too. And I'm like, what? Well, tell me what you said.
Well, because we first suggested you because, again, you were supposed to be on, but scheduling conflicts and everything. And then I also had talked to Jada about being on. She was like, I think she had said, like, well, if you guys are stuck on one, call me for a tiebreaker. And I don't know if she was actually being genuine, but I was like, well, we're going to have to take her up on this. Yeah. You know how sometimes you're in those situations where you're like, call me if you need something when, a friend of yours has,
whatever.
Yeah, going on, and you hope they actually don't take you up on that or whatever. Yeah. I don't know if it was one of those situations, but we did anyway. And that finally got it just to move on there. We had to call 2 phone friends.
It was funny, and I was like paying, like, as we were going through, I was going with like, okay, which one would I have done here? And I would say most of them they got right. There's a handful that they totally missed on.
What's the number one that you wish?
Well, I think Aladdin should have won.
Okay.
Over, what was it, Cinderella?
No, Aladdin made it to the championship.
Yeah. Well,
Coco. Yeah, it was
Coco won. Yeah. Same thing. I loved Coco.
Yeah. For the record, at the end of part 2, I joke we've been at this for 2.5 hours. That wasn't a joke. There's about 2.5 hours of raw footage.
Oh yeah, I believe it.
Altogether, the two episodes put together that we did put out only resulted in about an hour.
Yeah.
So there's about an hour and a half of footage on the cutting room floor.
Yeah.
What we'll do with that, maybe we'll do something with that. Maybe this will be the way we open our Patreon. I don't know. Yeah. Where it's like you want that bonus footage. I don't know. We'll maybe do something, but let us know if you want to see some of those outtakes. Like I said, a little over an hour of just other arguments and everything like that. So if you thought we were unhinged before, you should have seen some of the stuff I cut. So, but yeah, that was a big thing. That was a fun project here. Look forward to some other stuff here this year as well. And I mean, we were pretty excited about this one. We're already kind of planning next year's, believe it or not. Mm-hmm. So everyone I've already talked to, mark your calendars. Just boom. March. Keep it clear.
Keep it clear.
The other thing I wanted to talk to you about, just kind of get your reaction on, is a Minecraft movie and how big it's gotten. I think we both thought it would do good. It's done better than we thought. But
I thought it was going to be huge. As soon as they actually did release the first trailer, that's when, and I was talking with Jada actually at the movie theater before it came out. Once they released that official trailer, like the new trailer, like a week before it came out, it was like, this movie's going to be huge.
And so far, it's lived up to that for sure. But people need to chill out in the theaters here, I feel like.
Oh, 100%. There's some wild things.
Have you read some of these stories?
One of them happened here in Marshall.
Yes, and that is mainly the reason why I wanted to bring this up. I get it. There's sometimes you want to get a little bit more involved in it, especially if it's some sort of inside joke. I get it. But there are other people that are there that are just trying to enjoy the movie and or are trying to get introduced to the franchise that have no idea what the inside joke is or whatever. Yep. And I'm not really going to say what people have done online because I don't want to give people ideas, essentially. But like you mentioned, there was an incident kind of in Marshall 6. No one got hurt.
Yeah, nobody got hurt. Nothing. It's not serious. It's just being silly. Just being
super
dumb
annoying.
And super annoying.
And dumb, yes. I wanted yeah. And again, there are examples of something like this happening that is kind of fun. We've talked about the movie The Room multiple times, and there are these midnight showings that'll take place where everyone starts throwing spoons at the screen when spoons or something shows up on the screen.
And they do, like, I know there's one for Rocky Horror Picture Show. They have some, and it's totally cool when there's a time and a place for it, but a random theater full of people with random people not, we're here for an event. We're just here to watch a movie. There might be kids. There might be families. All kinds of things.
And the point of the examples of The Room and Rocky Horror, like you mentioned, like everyone's in on it. You go to that showing knowing that's going to happen.
Yep.
Another, I guess, sort of example would be the Taylor Swift Eras tour. You know, some people were able to dance and sing along with it and everything, but you knew that going in. There were signs.
Yep. There were some theaters that said, hey, this one at 2:00, you can sing and stand up and treat it like a concert. You can do that. And if you went to it, that's what you did. And there were some where, no, you sit down, you be quiet, you're not singing. Yeah.
It's just the point of some of these movies, especially these big tentpole movies, is they can introduce new fans to the franchise or to the product. There are people at these theaters who, like me, have never been a part of Minecraft, never played the game or anything like that. I'm not saying I'm going to log on right after this movie came out, but I would say I was a little bit more interested because we had a good theater experience. Yeah. But there are people out there in those theaters who are now like, well, now they're associating their hate towards Minecraft because that's all they can really point it to right now. Yep. So for any of you out there who are thinking, oh, this is a fun thing, oh, people, you know, even if they're not in the joke, you're scaring people away from the franchise. And you're scaring them away from the theaters when it's not really even the theater's fault. Yeah. You know, you got all these dummies who are ruining it for everyone here. And I know I'm sounding like the get off my long old grandpa guy here or whatever. But, you know, what if I, what if I went to a sporting event and let off a smoke bomb in the stands? Oh, you just don't get the joke, man. It's funny because they're smoking. The team's smoking them. It's not a joke. In my opinion, it's not a joke unless everyone in the room is in on it. Yeah. They don't necessarily have to think it's funny, but they have at least kind of know about it and be in on it. That's just my philosophy, at least. So, I don't know. Just a couple things I feel like we had to talk about there. Get that out of the way. And, just don't be dumb. All right? Yeah. People in public, just mind your P's and Q's a little bit. Yeah. I'm not saying you have to be, like, all dressed. Goody two-shoes, but, don't ruin it for everyone else.
Like, even, like, what was it, the Minions one? If you want to throw on a suit and just go watch the movie, go do that.
That was funny.
Totally fine.
Because it didn't ruin the experience for everyone else.
Yeah.
But anyways, all right. I'll get off my soapbox now. We got to get that out of the way. I want to know your thoughts on it and everything too. So, let us know if you agree or disagree with us on that one or whatever. And let us know if you agree or disagree with the nerd bracket thing too. Already some people have been talking to some of us about some of our picks and everything like that, and I welcome them too. That's okay. Hey, we talk a lot about movies on this channel, but sometimes the ones we talk about aren't the most accessible. That's where the Marshall-Lyon County Library comes in handy. They have a great collection of physical media, as well as a couple of online services with many, many options for movies, TV shows, and documentaries. It's easy. Just get your own library card at the Marshall-Lyon County Library and gain access to their large variety of movies, TV shows, and of course, books. Also, be sure to check back every month as we here at Popcorn Bucket List make specific movie recommendations based on a monthly theme. So head on over to the Marshall-Lyon County Library for some of our favorites and check out the channel to get even more movie recommendations. And now, on with the show! But let's move on here to the usual stuff here. Opening Spotlight. We're continuing our partnership with the Marshall-Lyon County Library here this month, doing it a week later than usual because we had talked to the SMSU Theater Department here, obviously. Yep. But this month's theme, we're talking about the rain. We're making it rain. I want to know.
You know, it's all.
No, keep going.
I forgot the rest of it.
Okay, whatever. That's okay. I'll look at the lyrics. Just tell me the song, and I'll have you do it. Calling your bluff on that one. But yeah, April showers. They bring May movies sometimes.
Ooh, I like that. That's good.
I spent way too much time on that line. However much time you thought I did.
Carter likes it. He's smiling up there.
But yeah, obviously April is kind of known as springtime, a lot of more rain showers and stuff like that. So we kind of kept our theme kind of simple, but along those lines here. We're talking about movies that make us think of rain or something like that.
Yeah. I took it as movies that have like good rain scenes in them.
Yeah. There was a couple different ways you can interpret these. Just if there's a thing that has a plot point with the rain or just has visually interesting
Yep.
rain aspect. Yeah, there was many ways we could take this one. So I think we got a little bit more diverse group of movies here. Very good ones though, and ones that you can all check out at the Marshall Lyon County Library. So let's just talk about our picks here.
Sounds
we'll
good.
start with number 4.
Yeah.
What was our number 4 pick?
I went with Saving Private Ryan. A lot of times when I think of that film, I do think of the rain. There's a couple instances where it does rain on them. And just kind of I tried to branch into different avenues in mine, like one's, I guess 2, I guess you'd consider dramas. But this is kind of like a war movie, whereas none of these other ones on here are a war movie. So that was kind of my thought process for it.
I mean, that plus them getting out of the water and the beach, it's a very wet movie.
Very wet
sometimes,
movie.
So mine, I'm going to go with, arguably, I think has the least amount of rain in it out of any of the movies we've talked about. But it is such a big scene, so much so that even though it's such a small part, it's like attached to all the posters and all that.
Yep.
I'm talking about Shawshank Redemption here. Yep, there it is. Exactly. You could picture it.
Yeah.
That ending moment when he finally crawls out in there, and it's almost like looking back on it, it's almost always cloudy throughout that movie, with the exception of like when they're roofing scene or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's never raining.
Yeah.
And it added to that dread. But finally, when the rain comes, it's almost like, okay, now he's washing himself of this. Maybe I'm looking into that a little bit too much, but it was always cloudy but never rainy until that final moment here. So I just feel like there's a little bit of symbolism there, more so than it just
Cleansing
being raining.
himself.
Yeah.
Washing himself clean.
Yeah. He's baptized a new man. I don't know. But let's talk about our third pick here. What's the third one you want to talk about?
The Watchmen. There's a very classic raining scene in there with, oh shoot, his name just popped out of my head. The Watchman.
Rorschach? He's the main guy with the face.
Yeah,
with the changing face thing.
Yeah, and one of the reasons I went with this kind of took that superhero angle, but not your traditional superhero movie. This came out a while ago, and actually I believe it's from Frank Miller too, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, so I guess I have 2 Frank Miller movies on here, but
it amazes me how you have 2 DC Comics properties and I don't. Like when I saw that, I was like, "Oh my gosh, how did I not pick those?"
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right, because that is a very rainy movie.
yes,
for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, there's because like you even said like, oh, the famous rain scene. I was like, oh, there's a bunch. I feel like
There's
really.
a lot, yeah.
Mine, another pick I have here, this might be the only one that actually rain has really anything to do with the story or affects the story in any way, shape, or form. And again, it's not prevalent throughout the whole movie, but it is prevalent for a huge part of it. Jurassic Park.
Yep.
A lot of what happens is because of that storm. A lot of that movie does not happen if not for that storm. So it's a pretty rainy scene during a lot of that. And especially when, Newman is trying to get to the boat and everything, he slips and slides on the rain and all that. It messes with the security system. And, that's just how it works out in those islands.
Out in the
sometimes.
world, yeah.
It is beautiful. And then, boom, raining. Monsoon.
Storming.
And then a couple hours later, it's all good.
And then Ryan Hall's on his way telling you, get down for cover. Get for cover.
I think you, man, you're the only ones who are going to get that reference, but
Yeah.
okay. What's your number 2 pick here? You mentioned Frank Miller. You got another one here.
Another Frank Miller. Sin City. Also another beautifully artistic movie. The way they shot this and because like you said, it's a DC property. It's off a comic book or a graphic novel. And they tried to make it as graphic novel-y as they could, but make it into a movie. And it's just a wild ride of a movie and worth checking out.
Yeah, those Frank Miller graphic novels are really good. So my number 2, you could argue probably inspired the look and feel of these Frank Miller graphic novels, of these sort of, I don't want to say post-apocalyptic future, but dystopian kind of
run-down futuristic.
Yeah, futuristic. And I would argue has possibly almost as much, if not more, rain scenes than especially these last few here. But Blade Runner.
And depends which version you watch. You might get more rain scenes or less rain scenes.
Just for the sake, I'm just going to focus on the theatrical cut here, just to keep the confusion out of it. But you're right. You're totally right. Yeah. If I went to the extended cut, then I definitely would have you with the rain scenes for sure. But yeah, this is a very, both this one and its sequel are very slow moving stories, I would say, plot wise, but for some reason they just work for me, man. They usually wouldn't, and part of it is because of Harrison Ford's performance. Part of it is because, it feels familiar, but it is still futuristic in its moments. So you can kind of feel like this is a world you can relate to or live in, but it also gives that futuristic feel, and it's also raining all the time. So again, we kind of associate sometimes rain with dread, especially at nighttime, and that's when a lot of this movie takes place as well. So, But our number one picks here, most probably the highest ranked movies we have on our list. Why don't you kick us off with your number one?
So I'm going with 7. Also, Bradley Cooper, or excuse me, Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt over there. I'm sorry. Excuse me. 7, basically, I would say, along with Blade Runner, takes place primarily in either raining or super cloudy weather, except for the box scene. That's about the only time it's not raining in the movie. And I think, obviously, continuing with what you said, it's that feeling of dread, that feeling of being, like, captured, very, like, dark, almost like brooding kind of a feeling. And, yeah, this movie's fantastic. One of my favorites. So check it out.
Yeah, when I first saw you had this one written on here, I kind of had to do a double take because, like you mentioned, when you think 7, the first scene you think of is that ending scene.
Yeah.
And it is bright, and it is outdoors. It's out of the city. It is wide open. Sun is shining, not a cloud in the sky, despite the fact that it's one of the darkest scenes in that movie.
Yeah.
But then I had to think about it. I was like, yeah, no, a lot of the detecting that they're doing is
all in the rain.
During that rain scenes and stuff like that. So, yeah, I think that's a really good pick there.
Thank you.
My number one is the only one that actually has rain in the title.
Oh.
So we had to put it on the
Had to
list.
throw it on there.
Singing in the Rain. It's only got the one scene really in the rain.
Yeah.
And obviously it becomes the title of the movie. But just in general, it's just a good musical.
It is.
It's such a fun time. So colorful. So funny. Well acted. I mean, it checks all the boxes. And, yeah, it's just a classic.
It is a classic. I was tempted to go with A Clockwork Orange because during Alex's ultra-violence scenes, they do a thing of singing in the rain. They sing it. And then later when he comes back, the guy is singing it. Yeah, it's pretty meta, pretty wild, but I was like, no, we'll keep that off.
That would have been a really, really deep cut for you just to get a Clockwork
Just to
Orange.
get a clock, yeah. So I was like, but when I think Singing in the Rain, that's what I think of that.
Again, it's really only it's kind of opposite of 7. You think of only the one scene, which is in the rain, but the rest of it is out of it for the most part and everything. So we should speaking of Clockwork, we should almost come up with a challenge where we each pick a movie for each other and we try to justify making it a pick throughout each month.
Yeah.
That's an idea for next. Carter, write that down for next year.
Write down, Carter.
For 2026, yeah.
Type. Thank you.
Our intern's out today, so Carter's got to do it. But yeah, those are just some of the movies we think of when we think of rain. I guess you could think of it as like a word association exercise.
Yeah.
So ask yourself the question, when you think of the word rain, what's the first movie that comes to your mind? Let us know in the comments below, and we'll use those as other recommendations for other people to watch as well. But if you want to see any of those movies we just talked about, make sure you head on over to the Marshall Lyon County Library to check them out right now.
This is the hottest take I've ever heard in my entire life. The 4 people we've talked to.
What? No! This is rigged!
I don't know how much of this you're going to see. For context, it's been about 2.5 hours.
Yes! Yes!
Vindication! Aladdin versus Lion King.
I can't do this.
But with that, let's transition to the weekly preview. Again, back to a little bit more busier weekend.
Yep.
Few to look at here, so let's talk about them. First things first, Thursday, April 10th, G20, coming straight to Prime Video. This one's starring Viola Davis as she plays the President of the United States. And her and her family, they're at the G20 summit. But the whole thing gets upended when she has to fight her way out.
Oof.
Some terrorists are trying to make a point here or something like that, I guess. But, yeah. The head terrorist, the guy leading this, he's no stranger to being a villain, by the way. Homelander from The Boys, Anthony Starr, main bad guy in this one.
And it's kind of cool to see him as a normal dude, not a superhero, ultimate Superman bad guy. Because what was the last movie he was in where he was the...
It was some scary movie. He was like a father or something like that.
No.
That's the one I'm thinking of.
Oh, I'm thinking of it was like a war one where they had to go in and do something. It was with Jake Gyllenhaal. They flew somewhere. He had to carry the guy, him and his interpreter, and then he went back for it. And Anthony Starr was like, "Well, I can't send anybody with you." And they're like, "Oh wait, you're that guy? Yeah, dude, I got a whole team for you. It'll come. It'll come."
It's not coming. No, probably.
I think I'm picturing it. Was it like a Netflix movie?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Well, that really narrows it down.
Because he had a interpreter, and everybody died, and the interpreter was held prisoner. So Jake Gyllenhaal.
Okay, I didn't actually watch it.
Oh, I watched it.
Like, I saw the trailer.
Yeah.
So you're not really helping us there on that one,
Yeah.
Carter. But guess, nice try. I was gonna say the only military movie I think with Jake Gyllenhaal is Jarhead, but I don't think it's that. Anyway, so yeah, it was interesting to see him in this one. I didn't.
The Covenant. Guy Ritchie's The Covenant.
Oh, okay. There we go. Took us about a couple minutes to get there.
We got there.
We took the scenic route, but we got there. I will agree with you. It took me a second to recognize that this was him because, again, he didn't have the really blonde hair coming back. And was he doing like an Australian accent or something there?
I don't know.
He was doing some accent.
Something.
He's doing something.
Crikey.
Yeah, I don't know. Is he Australian? I don't think he is. I don't think he is, at least. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. But yeah, it was interesting to see him in this as well. I don't know. What are your thoughts on it overall?
I think it's funny because like you hear about the G20 summit all the time, so it'll be interesting to see just kind of how that plays out. But I am looking forward to it. I think it'll be good.
Yeah, I'll say I like Viola Davis and everything she's in, and we've seen movies before where the president has to kind of step up and like, I can't rely on my Secret Service. I got to take care of business.
I got to do it myself,
my way, and everything. And we get the added, families in here as well. We got to save the family and all that. So it looks a little cliche, granted, but Viola Davis is great. So I think that's worth a plus point. I don't know if that made sense, but. All right, then let's also move on here to the rest of the weekend. Friday, April 11th, the big ticket item here, the amateur, I don't know, however you want to, the amateur, whatever, however you want to pronounce it. Coming to theaters, a CIA agent played by Rami Malek wants nothing but revenge on the terrorist who killed his wife. Only problem is he ain't like most agents. He's just the CIA's Poindexter.
Yep.
He's a computer guy.
He's the computer guy.
He can't go out in the field. He's a nerd.
Nerd.
Yeah. That's kind of the premise here, basically. Yeah. So, basically he tries to, he tries to get some training, but he ultimately kind of tries to do it his own way.
Yep.
I can't, beat these guys physically. Well, maybe my tech skills can help.
I'm going to use my smarts, my brain.
Yeah.
You ever see that Hacker Man, like where he goes into Best Buy and it's like the Matrix sound and it's like, he's like just runs to some laptops and he's like typing on them and he's got a black trench coat on and then he runs out. It's pretty funny. We'll put that in right here.
Nope, not going to do that. Probably
not. It doesn't work when I do it?
No.
Oh.
Unless you find the clip and send it to me.
All right.
This episode is titled, Ryan forgot to take his ADHD medication. He's just all over the place here today, but that's okay. We love it.
I'm all over.
Yeah, I mean, the whole point of this movie is like he's kind of the tech guy. He can't be on the field or whatever like that. I feel like that's a little bit of a stereotype. I knew a guy in high school, possibly one of the nerdiest computer geeks I ever knew. He also was the guy who I know owned like the most guns out of all of us. So I'm not going to say the number, but It was in the
most.
It was in the double digits.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say about that. But we do like the underdog stories here. And that's another thing that I think needs to be pointed out here is, this guy's got no chance of winning. So how does he figure it out, so to speak?
Yep. And if you like Rami Malek, I think you'll like this.
Also, side note, I'd like to potentially say, Carter, meet me on camera 2 here. Potentially DC Comics confirmed, because one of the other people in this, Lawrence Fishburne, played Perry White in some of the Superman movies. Rachel Brosnan plays Lois Lane in the new Superman movie.
Oh.
So we got a 2 Daily Planet special here.
Oh.
So
Never know. Never know.
I mean, we kind of know it won't be, but that'd be cool.
Never know.
Also coming out to theaters here this weekend, Drop. This one, well, if you thought you had the worst first date ever, you ain't seen nothing yet. A single mom is finally able to get out of the house and have a night on the town, only for someone to threaten her kid and force her to kill her date. I like the incorporation of the airdrop feature in this and everything. And the reason why is because it's not that I'm like a big fan of airdrop or something like that. I've never really used it, but it reminds me of Carry On a little bit last year, where for the longest time, our main character knew the person was in the room somewhere. They knew they had to be close by, but they didn't know who or where they were or how they were doing this. Similar here. They say right at the beginning, like, well, if someone airdrops you something, they have to be like within a certain range of you.
Yep.
So we know the person's in the room. How do we figure out who it's going to be?
Yep. Because, it's hard to tell.
Yeah. I don't know. For me, this one looks pretty tense, actually.
Yeah, I think so, too. I think the kind of the guessing and the just this, I think it'll be important to watch it, like, when you're watching the scene, like, be paying attention to things in the background and people maybe they might show you who did it in the very first scene. There might be one person with their phone out like this in the back, and you just aren't paying attention.
You're going to be looking at the background. If anyone picks up their phone, you're like, oh, is that the person?
Is that the guy?
And especially in this day and age, we're always on our phones,
Yeah.
so it makes sense that you would have a bunch of people on them at all the times.
Yeah.
Try doing this movie in the early 2000s or something like that.
Can't do it.
Doesn't really work as well. I also like the fact that the person who directed this movie also did Happy Death Day, which I really liked.
Yep.
It was kind of scary, but it had some humor.
Yeah.
Not sure if this one's going to be as funny, though. Also coming out here this weekend, Warfare, also coming to theaters. Co-directed, 2 directors for this one. One being Alex Garland, who did Civil War last year. We really liked that movie. But a co-director in this one is a guy by the name of Ray Mendoza. Now, he's never really directed stuff in the before, but however, he was Garland's military supervisor on Civil War.
Yep.
And this guy is a real-life war veteran of the Iraq War. And this movie is essentially not like a real 100% story, but it's basically a bunch of stuff that happened to him that they've kind of compiled into a story here. And one that apparently is kind of shown in real time. Which I think is interesting.
I'm super excited for this. I hadn't purposely watched many things, and then I don't know if I would say an enhanced trailer came out where it had those 2 directors talking about it as the trailer played through before a YouTube video. So I was watching it, and like they were kind of talking like they're doing stuff with real bullets and real explosions, and like I'm pumped for it because I really enjoyed Civil War, and I think this is going to be another. And he said about halfway through Civil War they started working on this one as well. I was like, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. I'm really excited about this. I hadn't really seen anything from it before this. So yeah, kind of reading about it and looking into it. I got to say this one really, really intrigues me.
Yep.
But let's move on to the last movie here. In case violent warfare is not your thing here, we do have a little bit more of a cheery. We have a little bit more of a cheery one as well. Pets, just simply called Pets, coming to Disney Plus. Title's pretty straightforward here.
Yeah.
You kind of get it, right?
Yeah.
We're done here. We don't need to talk about more.
Pets.
Right. Yeah.
Disney, Pets.
I'm just kidding.
What more do you need?
This is a documentary about basically it'll talk to some kids about the effect that pets has on them, and a bunch of adults who, some of them have these animal rescue shelters and everything like that. And it'll cover a wide range of pets. Yeah, we'll talk about cats and dogs, but what are some other unconventional pets as well?
Off topic, I saw the greatest pets / Karen video the other day. It was watch what happens when you push this Karen too far or something. And it's a girl with her back walking, and like a girl like touched her on the back. She goes, "Touch me again, and I will show you who I am." So she touches her again, and then she takes like 3 steps forward and turns around and is holding a dog. And she's like, "Hi, I'm Michelle so-and-so. I run You Pets for Adoption." Like, and it was like, oh, this was like, I was expecting
So
like
it was staged, but it looked like it was
yeah,
gonna be
it
a real
looked like
thing.
they're about to get into it, and it's like a real ad for her like
Yeah, got
business.
it.
And I was like, this is hilarious. It
That
was
is kinda
so
funny,
good.
actually, yeah. This movie, or documentary, I should say, directed by Bryce Dallas Howard. So
very
she's
cool.
continuing her work behind the camera here and everything. Seems to have a little bit of heart to it,
Yeah.
I think.
Yep.
Like, some interesting stories in there for sure. But that is everything coming out here this weekend. Let's talk about some things we saw last week here with some number one recommends. I think it's my turn to go first here this week, in which case I'm going to go ahead and be the first one to talk about a Minecraft movie. I think if you kind of got the vibe from me last week, I didn't really know what to expect or what I wanted to get out of this movie. But I have to say, overall, really enjoyed it.
Same. I absolutely loved it. I was gonna go with this as well. Minecraft.
Yeah, two for one recommend here
Yeah.
special. basically.
Also, there's a good reference to Napoleon Dynamite in here. So if you're a Napoleon Dynamite fan, you'll get it, and it's hilarious.
If you're not a Napoleon Dynamite fan like I am, you will not get it because
Can I
this
tell
is
to you?
the first time I'm hearing it. Yeah, what is it?
So remember earlier they make the pizza,
Yeah.
and then when they get to the Minecraft world, he's making something, and then what's his name goes, "You had tots the whole time?"
Oh,
and he goes,
yeah.
yeah. That was a
I probably would have guessed that, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just didn't know that was a Napoleon Dynamite
Yeah.
thing, I guess. But yeah, overall,
Have you not seen Napoleon Dynamite?
I have. It's been a long time.
Oh.
Like, I know Tater Tots
Yeah.
is attached to it.
Yeah.
I didn't remember a guy saying.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
it's
Tater Tots
kind of like hey. And there's also a couple Minecrafty, like the pig for the YouTube guy.
Yeah.
There's a couple other things in there that are, if you're big, I'm neither of us. I had somebody else. I knew the Tots one right when I heard it, but like the pig one, it like they kind of showcase it. It's like, well, that's something, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
it didn't take away from the movie for me.
Yeah, that was the number one thing I wanted to say, and this is something I mentioned last week on the show, is that it's going to get its success if it could do kind of what Dungeons and Dragons did. If it can make it enjoyable for the fans, but also make it enjoyable for people like us who have never really played it. And I got to say, it hit both those boxes, and because of that, it became a box office success. Yeah.
Smash, smash, smash.
I do get that reference.
You got that
I
reference?
do get
Yeah,
that
yeah.
reference. So yeah,
Wild guy.
Yeah, it is a funny movie, but if you're not a Jack Black fan, you're not going to enjoy this one.
Yes, no.
If you are a Jack Black fan, you're going to enjoy this one for sure. But
Yeah.
well, that's going to do it for us here on this episode of Popcorn Bucket List. Another reminder, make sure to check out Nerd Bracket Part 1 and 2, where we determine the best animated Disney movie of all time. I'm sure some of you are going to have some opinions on that, though.
Yep.
As we've seen here. So also remember, this weekend is the latest from the SMSU Theater Department, Shout, the musical, premiering this night. By the time you're watching this, Thursday night, and we'll go on all weekend. Follow their Facebook to get more information on that, and don't miss out. I know I'll be there, so hopefully we'll see you all there.
Yep. I got one more thing. If anybody can tell me what this where this jersey's from. I'll give you something cool.
All right.
Do you know where it's from?
No, but I haven't really gotten a good look at
All
it
right.
either. So.
I'll show the back when when I stand up.
Oh, God.
It's pretty dope.
Well, for myself, Ryan, his jersey, and Carter, we'd like to thank you so much for watching, and we will see you at the movies.